Hello and welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to do an oil and air filter change on my Mazda Bongo. As you can see here, I've got all the products I'm going to use. The first thing I've got to do is drive the van round and warm up the oil because I'm going to be using an oil extractor pump to get the oil out. So first thing to do is, obviously after I've driven around, warmed up the oil, it only takes like 5-10 minutes to do that, and then you've just got to remove the center console. Got to move pretty quick here because I've got to keep the oil nice and warm for the extractor pump to work well, and just fold the seats back. Now, did you see that drop out there? Look at that. There's a light bulb there. It's a side indicator bulb that I had lost for about a year, and finally I found it. So what I got to do is, so the engine is nice and warm. And that's where the oil dipstick is, which is on the passenger side. And as you can see here, I'm using this little extractor pump. Now, I bought this a couple of years ago and I've only used it once so far, so this is the second outing, and it's a really neat piece of kit. This is a Sealy version, and if you're going to get any one, I think this is the one to get because it's got this kind of more of a rigid hose on the end. You'll see what happens when how it works. But it's really simple. You just put the hose bit on one plug bit and then the pump on the other, on the top. And you simply feed like an endoscope into the oil dipstick pipe. So I'm just having a look at the oil. It is pretty grim, that old oil. And as you can see here, you literally just feed the end of the pipe. This is where this is the only one that I could find that had this kind of a semi-rigid sort of flexible hose at the end, and you just got to feel when it kind of hits the bottom of the sump, and then you've just got to pump the vacuum pump really. I started off on the top, but it's just too difficult to pump up there, so give it about 10 to 20 pumps apparently, and then as you can see there, the oil just starts to come out, and it does lose its vacuum, so you've just got to keep coming back to it and giving it a few pumps. So it's a pretty clean operation doing all this really. It's quite nice. At the end, as you can see, it just starts to bead up, and then it's just sucking the last little bits out and try and get as much out as you can. I got about 4 litres out here. Each ridge is a litre because there's half a litre left usually in the oil filter. Now I'm covering up my cat litter tray here. You don't have to use the cat litter tray, use what you want, but I'm using this before I do the oil filter change. Just obviously put it under the van because a little bit of oil does eventually sort of leak out. So this is on now on the driver's side. As you can see, there's the oil filter. This is the version I've gone for. This one that's recommended to me. It's a blueprint one. There you go. You can clearly see the number there. It's different one I've got. I had a different make in there before. It looks like a slightly longer oil filter, but yeah, there's lots of oil coming out there, so I decided to just quickly tighten it back up again and use a plastic bag to kind of capture the oil filter in when I take it off, because I'm trying to keep this as clean as possible. I'm going to do it this way so I don't have to go underneath and take the sump plug out, because that is quite a bit more of a dirty operation and a bit easier at a garage because you can put it on a ramp. So you just simply screw on the new oil filter. Now this only needs to be hand tightened. You don't need any special tools to tighten this up. So just wipe it off with a bit of a rag there, just so I can tighten up again because it's got kind of slippy. So this is where the oil filler cap is on the driver's side. So unscrew that. So if you're wondering how much oil to put inside your Bongo, here's a handy chart for you. So each one of these is for a full oil and filter change. So each one of those does take the same kind of oil, which is 10 watt 40 semi-synthetic. So you can see here I've gone for this one. I just ordered this off Amazon. It was pretty cheap, so this whole thing cost me about £26 to do the oil and filter change, which is a lot cheaper than going to the garage. So yeah, so I've got a 2 litre petrol, so mine is only going to take 4.5 litres. So I've added a bit of extra garden hose to the bottom of my funnel, so it actually reaches in there. And it's just a case of filling the oil back up again. So it's probably worth just putting in about 4 litres and just checking the dipstick, so you don't want to overfill, and then just obviously keep coming backwards and forwards. As you can see here, I'm just giving it a little check. So now it's time to get on with the air filter change. Again, this is on the driver's side. You'll see this little air box here. You just undo the clips. And I undid the connectors that were on it because I found it a bit easier to remove that lid. Now I actually ordered this air filter when I got my exhaust because I knew I was going to do this oil change at some point. So just to save on delivery charges, I got it at the same time. I did actually get this from Bongo Spares, I think it was. So this is pretty simple if you're using 2 hands. I'm using 1 hand because I'm trying to film it. Easy to get it out. As you can see, it's quite dirty, but getting back in was not so easy. So yeah, if you do it, just do 2 hands, not like me. But it's dead simple. It literally just plops into place. Then you put the lid back on and put the clips back on, and obviously put the connectors on again that I took off. So after that, I decided to give the engine a bit of a run. So this gets the oil flowing through the oil filter, and then you can then just top up a bit more oil, keep checking your dipstick, and then you'll get the correct amount of oil in the engine. But now, put everything back together. Put the center console back in, and it's probably a good idea just to go out for a little run just to check for any leaks or anything like that, and check the dipstick just one last time after this. So yeah, everything's sounding really nice, everything sounds nice and smooth. And I just check underneath, see if there's any oil leaking out of the oil filter or anything, and everything looks pretty good. And the final stage of this, just to show you how sort of cool this little extractor pump is the fact it's collected it all in this container, and it comes with its own little nozzle to yeah, just drain it out. And I use a couple of milk containers, and you can see how dark that last oil was, so well due for a change. Well worth doing the oil change. I'm really pleased I've got on with it and done it. Again, it saves you quite a bit of money, really. I mean, obviously a proper service from a garage, they'll check more than your oil, so it is worth getting your van serviced at a garage every now and then. But I like to save money, or if you like to do an interim sort of oil change sort of halfway through the year, if you do a lot of miles, then this is kind of well worth it, and I save a lot of money having this kit. The extractor pump has gone up quite a bit in money, but the second time you use it, you'll make all your money back. Yeah, so there we go. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.